Welcome to another exciting edition of Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Papergoy.
And I'm Mr-Magazine.
And it's time for yet another BOLO video. A lot of neat things that you can find out there. A lot of neat little stories about the items. And a lot of neat little tricks that and tips that you might have out there. So why don't you take it away as I'm fumbling my words left and right.
All right. Well, if you find this out there, you probably need to get it graded. So make sure it's clean like this one. It's Monsters of Filmland. This is from the Ohio Hall. I pieced out some of the better high-grade items and sent them to CGC, and now they're starting to sell. So we got a Filmland. This is a yearbook from '67, Warren Publishing, 8.5. I think I took a $220 offer on this.
And I think we've done a video that would have posted probably by now, where it shows a lot of the various things that came back that you got graded. So that's it's neat to watch the things as people saw it when it came in, and if you haven't checked out that video, definitely do check it out. And you saw it when it came back graded, and now you saw it sold.
I'm going to show you another one too, just because I love these covers. This was Bela Lugosi. Very cool. Issue number 30. Sorry about that. There we go. All right. Help me out here. There we go. All right. Filmland, issue 30. It was only a 6.5, but it's a really cool Dracula cover. I think this went for the 205. Yeah, very cool.
And that's yet another one of those that came out of the same hall, same everything like that.
Yeah, I thought it'd be an 8, but you never know. Something I can't see with my eyes. They use those magnifiers to figure out what the true grade is. Next up, Papergoy was just asking me about this. Here we go.
Yeah, I saw this on the packing floor, which is the funny thing about it. And I said, I've never seen one of these before.
This is a TV Guide bound volume, Eastern New York State edition from 1972. And these actually go for really good money. Yeah, I got these as part of a deal, and I don't even think I paid anything, if not much, for them at all. But they're generally $150 to $300-400, depending on the years and so forth. But they're really clean. Even the covers inside were very nice, so it was complete.
Oh, here's the crazy question for you: what would those be worth individually? I mean, close to that if you pieced them out. I mean, so it's.
And they were. Let's see if we can see them here. Yeah, no mailing labels. I mean, they're really super clean.
But I'm saying that a lot of times, that's really close to full value you got out of it to begin with. So people must like those to put them up on their shelf or something other like that. Must be a nice, easy way to do that. Yeah. And I know we've done a video before. Definitely something other you need to know with the TV guides is do list what area. I picked up a bunch from Chicago Metro, so I listed Chicago Metro on all of them. You don't necessarily have to do it in the title, but definitely make sure that you do down below. And one of the advantages is usually, not always, but usually when you pick them up, you're going to pick them out of some estate where the person isn't a collector necessarily, but they've saved them or they bought them every week, et cetera, et cetera. So odds are that once you check one, they're all going to be like that. Yeah. I mean, maybe if you buy a large collection, you may have to, back and forth because maybe they built their collection across the country. But if you're living in Rochester, Buffalo, they're probably all going to be from that same area as a general rule.
Yeah, and here's a tip. Don't make the mistake I made years ago when we first started listing these, probably 10, 12, 15 years ago. I had my employees putting down June 1972, April 1972. And then guess what happens when they sell? Well, you got 4 issues to choose from. You don't know what's what. So put the whole date in the listing title.
And a couple of different reasons for that. Number one, people buy it for birthdays. They buy Life magazines, various things like that for birthdays, so they like to know the exact date. And the other thing, it is absolutely amazing to me. It never ceases to amaze me how people know when things were and will contact you and say, does this have an advertisement for the Huntley Brinkley Hour that had John Glenn? And you're going,
Exactly.
It's just amazing what people know. And I tell you, I see why we're really hot among millennials with Huntley Brinkley Hour and John Glenn. Jeez.
Who wouldn't be? All right, moving on. Here's a toy for you from the movie Mad Max with Tom Hardy. This is a 1/6. This is, I think, a custom figure, or at least it has been customized. And this went for $200. It's very hot. In the box, I think it's a $300 piece. So you never know. You might see these out and think it's just some cheap G.I. Joe doll, and guess what? $200.
VTS toys. Okay, so they customized the actual toy as well. Further customized it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's very cool.
Yeah. And he doesn't even have his gun. I think he's missing some accessories, so it's definitely worth a lot more than that complete. All right, moving on. These have been hot for a long time, and they're hotter than ever now. Garbage Pail Kids. anything you have in Garbage Pail Kids now is going to be hot, whether it's new or old sets, single cards. This whole grading craze, people are grading them now. I took a $100 offer on this. It's a UK version, and it's just the A base set sticker set only.
Now, how did you know it was UK?
The person that sold it to me told me that.
Oh, okay.
So there you go.
You must say somewhere in the copyright or something.
In the back, I'm sure. But yeah, very cool. Anything Garbage Pail Kids, whether it's a miscellaneous cards, an empty box, a wrapper, buy it up when you see them out there.
So how many cards were in that set? 33?
And I think they went with 42s, I think. Was it something? I think it was 42.
Okay.
The originals were 42, so I'm assuming they go with the same A and B 42 of each, which would make it 84.
So about $2.50 a card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very cool. And then lastly, we're going to throw a magazine in there. Boxing News Record, 1939. I had this for a while. Surprisingly, when I bought these, a lot of these were high grade, and they're popular, but they just don't sell for a lot of money. This, I think I took like $28 for it. But 1939 edition with Joe Louis on the cover there. Very cool.
Now, can I tell you where you screwed up?
World's Fair.
I guess you can tell yourself where you screwed up.
I'm looking at that now. Well, I didn't. I screwed up by not telling my employee to list World's Fair. But yes, they definitely probably could have got a little more money. If you're Paperboy, you probably would have got $50 for it, like 2 months ago.
Something like that, yeah. Except Paperboy would not have stepped up to the plate and bought it in the first place. So,
all right.
First thing we got over here. Funny you put up the TV guide. One thing, a little peek behind the curtain here. I don't know what he's putting up. He doesn't know what I'm putting up. As we've mentioned on other shows that we've been on, the spontaneity. When you see my reaction, you see his reaction, it's absolutely 100% true. We don't know what each other is putting up. We don't know what anything went for. We find that fun. We have to enjoy doing this as well. So it's kind of funny you put up a TV guide because I put up a local TV guide. It's not actually a TV guide, which I'm sure is a registered trademark of the TV Guide Corporation, but it's a local newspaper supplement for the 1970s. And these do sell. A lot of people do, and I know I've shown you before, but a lot of people do like the local ones because everybody bought the TV guide, has a TV guide. Sometimes the local ones sell even better. So we got the Chicago Daily News TV magazine, August 18th, 1973.
Yeah.
Richard Roundtree as Shaft.
Nice.
You know that Shaft, he's a bad mother. Shut your mouth. One thing, and a lot of people don't know, is it actually was a TV show, a short-lived TV show. So that's why it's in the TV news right over there. But anything Shaft sells, definitely does. He's a cult favorite, as a matter of fact. One of the great movies. And if you've never seen it, definitely do see it. Isaac Hayes' theme song, etc., etc. I could go on all day. Would you like me to sing?
No, I'd like you to.
All right, we'll go on to the next one.
Yeah, here we go.
Yet another thing over here, the New Yorker. Regularly they have, and this will save you a lot of trouble because every single time I do the New Yorker magazine, they do, I believe it's annually, they have Eustace Tilley, which is the top-hatted character with the monocle, et cetera, et cetera. Well, over the recent few years, they've changed Eustace on the issue, and this happened to be the one that had the black woman on it. Somebody or other bought it. They bought a couple of other African-American things as well, so it caught their eyes being kind of neat.
Not even that old.
No, not old at all, 2018. I did pick this up a couple of years ago, and I've still got a bunch of them that I haven't listed from New Yorker. Somebody had a subscription, and I ended up buying basically all the New Yorkers, I don't know, 100 and some for $20. They just wanted them out of the house because they would have been throwing them out. It was the last day of the sale, and I go, well, can you work me a deal on all of them?
Yeah.
One thing, though, New Yorkers, and I don't mean any disrespect to your employees by any means whatsoever, but we've talked before about what it's worth you paying your employees to do. New Yorkers are very tough to list. I did put up the table of contents. Hard to read right there because it's small on here. It doesn't really tell you a whole heck of a lot about what's in there.
Yeah.
It is a difficult magazine to list. You have to go through more or less page by page to see what's worth listing, especially in the older ones where they didn't have any table of contents to speak of.
Right.
So it's a tough magazine to list. You can definitely get some money out of it, though, if you're willing to put the time in. Next thing we have over here is, if you got red hair, a little auburn color there, Golden Glint shampoo for auburn shades, number 10, dark auburn unused.
Wow.
It literally is some kind of a powdered shampoo. why does Papergoy have it? Because it's got the little container, the little cardboard box. Literally, is what it came in. Just a really small, thin box, almost like a wide matchbook. Is what it was. And I picked it up at a sale. And the nice thing about things like this is they're not valued highly by a lot of sellers. And by that I mean I was making a pile of stuff. I saw it. I threw it in the pile. I probably didn't pay for it because once your pile gets to a certain size, you throw another item in it. The guy just looks at it and goes, yeah, whatever. Doesn't care about it. You can get a lot of stuff that way. The problem, of course, is finding time to list it. But I did list this because this is the kind of thing I really do enjoy, just listing these oddball items like this. Didn't go for a lot of money, but it did sell, and hopefully the person with the auburn hair is very happy with the product. Next thing we have over here, do you know who Buddy Rich is?
I do. Man, I used to be a drummer back in the day, back in high school, and that was it, back in high school.
Do you have his official fan club membership card?
I do not. I'm a lot younger than he was.
Kind of neat. This is I took less than, I think I took $12 on it, something like that. But I ended up with, I got 5 different fan club cards for a cheap price at an auction. And I said, somebody's going to want them. And sure enough, this sold pretty quickly. So I'm quite happy with it. This sold for more than I paid for all 5 cards. So the other 4 cards, are paid for. And at some point they will sell. I don't remember. Robert Preston, I think, was one of them, and I don't remember who the other ones were. Buddy Rich was the one that jumped out at me that I'd actually heard of, and Robert Preston I heard of as well. But these things are such small pieces of ephemera. Probably aren't a lot of them out there. I mean, who knows how many people were members of this club, how many people saved them, et cetera, et cetera. So just kind of a neat little addition to somebody's Buddy Rich collection. So you can find things like this out there, and they will sell. Next thing we have over here, Eddie Bald, bicycle champion, Utica, New York, Opera House program, 1898. I think I took $30 on it. It's been up since 2019, so been up about a year and a half now. I like the old programs because you never know what you're going to find in there. I don't know who Eddie Bald is. I probably did some research on him when I first listed it. I don't think I found a lot about him, but he obviously was a bicycle champion.
Yeah.
Now, had there been a picture of him, I would have probably doubled my asking price on it because a picture would have made it very, very valuable comparatively. But even that there, somebody probably, and I don't know, but they probably bought it because of the bicycle aspect. They could have been from Utica, who knows? I mean, 1898 is a nice early item as well. But go through those. You'll never know what you might find in there. You could find famous circus people, all that kind of thing, all the way through. I do know, I did read, it was a piece of sheet music that had the Marx Brothers on it from their original, before they were the Marx Brothers. And that went for some insane amount of money, which actually tells me I did forget to bring something or other up over here. I was going to admit a mistake that I made, and I forgot to bring it up. It was a playbill, and it was for a play called Aunt Minnie's Boys. And I listed it, Aunt Minnie's Boys. It took since 2016 to sell. 4 years, 5 years, and it sold for $13 on an offer, something like that. Do you know who Aunt Minnie was?
No.
I didn't either. Turns out it was a play about the Marx Brothers.
Oh, all right.
And right on the cover was whoever was playing Groucho down in the bottom corner. Guess what Papergoy did not list back in 2016? He did not mention the Marx Brothers anywhere.
Wow. No.
We make mistakes, and that's one thing we're more than willing to admit the mistakes so that when you see them, you don't make the same mistakes as we do. It did sell, as your employees will tell you, but it took 4.5 years. It probably would have sold a lot quicker for more money had I listed Marx Brothers. So we all make mistakes when we're listing. I won't make that mistake again. Let's put it that way. Next thing we have over here is this is kind of a really neat item. I picked up 2 items together at an auction, and I sold the other item for a little more than I paid for both. So this is gravy. I did take an offer on it, but I loved it when I saw it at auction, and I made sure that I won it. As a mutual friend of ours said, I stepped up to the plate on this one over here.
Ooh, wow.
Harvey Comics birth announcement. Now it's printed. It's not an original piece of art, but it's printed. But basically, the owner of Harvey Comics had their first child. Had one of the staff artists make this birth announcement.
Yeah.
And it was passed out to various members of the staff about, hey, the child's coming. And the really neat thing about it, well, number one, it's got all the characters. And I did list all the characters down below. But Casper the Friendly Ghost, Felix the Cat, Sad Sack Blondie, etc., etc., from 1955. But the really interesting thing about it is, and I don't know how well if we'll be able to see this or not. If we can't find the mouse, you won't be able to. It gives the date, June 12th, 1955. But to the Harveys, somewhere or other, I thought it did. Maybe it didn't.
What kind of arrow? What's on this other picture here?
Oh, okay. Yeah, there we are. Good call. Where's everyone going? Yeah, June 12th. She came home. Take a look at right above the door where Joe Palooka's standing.
Mr. and Mrs. Leon Harvey.
Gives their address.
Oh,
they probably don't live there anymore, but it literally gives their address. So that tells you how rare this was and how few people got it. Obviously, they're not going to distribute it to the general public with, hey, here's the owner of Harvey Comics' address.
Right.
I took an offer on it, I believe just over $200 on it. Kind of a really, really neat piece, and I'm surprised it actually took 6 months or so to sell. I really thought it would sell a lot faster.
Very cool.
But it's one of those neat pieces that are out there. I mean, obviously, and as we talked about, I don't remember if we talked about it on the show with Auction Professor or if we talked about it after the show, where the craziest thing is where people tell them, you don't find these things. Yeah. And as I said to them, you sold the item.
Right.
You didn't make it in your basement. You obviously found it.
Right.
This kind of item is out there.
Sure.
Some dealer found it. Some dealer auctioned it off. I purchased it. Somebody has it in their Harvey comic collection. Wonderful for them. But these things are out there. It's just a question of keeping your eyes open. It was folded down. It may not look like a lot when it was originally folded down. And in fact, you can tell, not to belabor the point, but if you can tell with the offsetting, I mean, you can tell the color difference over here. So literally when it was folded down, all you saw was this first part over here because that was up on top. Right. You're going to see people's faces with the baby.
Right.
How many people throughout the years saw that sitting somewhere and didn't open it up?
Exactly.
Because you just look and you go, oh, it's a baby. Who cares? I don't collect babies. I don't do this. I don't do that. Turns out it was a really cool item. And the last item, speaking of cool items, another item I picked up at auction, and the funny thing is, in the back of my head, I saw this item at the auction. I said, oh, that's probably good, but it wasn't even the real reason I bought the lot. There were other things that I saw there that I knew I could make some money off of, and I said, well, this is interesting. This is an item that, I know I can sell with some research. And sure enough, I was able to sell it with some research. Now, I did take an offer, a little less than that. I took $250 on it. It's just the weirdest 1960s type program because they really don't list a lot about the acts or anything. They've just got the various, it's just really 1960s artistic kind of deal. But it's just an absolutely loaded program for Philadelphia Music Festival of 1968. Early Pink Floyd, early The Who, Judy Garland, the Trogs.
Wow.
Now, on something or other like this, and the reason why I put the Trogs there, it fit. I still had space left over, so I used it. But down below, I listed everybody in there. You got Tiny Tim, Louis Armstrong, Sarah Vaughan, on and on and on. Country Joe and the Fish. Give me an F. Give me a. They're before you were born, so you wouldn't know who they were. The Box Tops, Rascals, etc., etc., etc. Just a loaded program. Ray Charles, Tiny Tim, Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
Okay. Yep.
I'm thinking we'll do a live show where I just sing. That should really draw people in.
Don't buy any Woodstock programs. We don't be here all day.
But just a really, really neat thing there. I took all 12 pictures. I listed everybody down below, and I got a $250 offer on it, which I accepted. Just an awesome program. But again, and we did do an Instagram on this as well, you take a look there at the front cover. It doesn't look like anything. You're going to just pass that by, or you're going to open it up to the first page, which just lists, it did not list the acts. The acts were on the second page. The first page just listed the various people that were involved with the program. Yeah. You grab it, you open it up, and you say, what is this? And you throw it aside. You're throwing aside $250. Take the time to look through things, because the last two items that I showed you there, both of which were $200 items, I'm sure a lot of people would have just passed by because they didn't look like anything.
I thought it was a dentist program myself, but what do I know?
Probably worth $500 had I listed it that way.
Exactly.
So hopefully that helps you some. Hopefully you like that. Do leave some comments down below if you could. Do subscribe if you haven't. Definitely appreciate it. Tell us about some of the finds you had. Hit the like button, and we will see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Wanna be